Hey guys, welcome. Today we're going to do a gentle sequence that's focused on releasing some of the tension that we hold in our hips. So whether your tension comes from carrying babies around or sitting in a car, driving in a commute, or if you're like me, spending a lot of time in front of the computer, those types of activities in our daily lives can really build up a lot of tension in our quads and our hip flexors, and our hips and our low back. And so we find ourselves kind of with some aches and pains or feeling a little strain. So today we're going to focus on some gentle movements that will counter some of that stress that you're accumulating from your daily life and help you to release that and feel a little bit better and get some more freedom of movement in the hips and the low back. So go ahead and hop on your mat and find something comfortable. We're beginning in a easy seat, so with the legs crossed. If you want to try a little yoga for the brain, you can switch the way that you cross your legs. Notice how that feels. Like always, if you aren't comfortable seated on the ground, you can grab a block or a blanket or a pillow, something comfortable to elevate your seat. That'll create some more space for you in the hips and in the knees. So just figure out wherever you are comfortable today and then join me there. Hands can rest open, open to receiving, open to releasing and letting go of all of that tension. Wiggle, getting seated, wiggling the fingers if we need to, taking a deep breath and just letting it out. You're here now, you made it. The hardest part is showing up, so give yourself a pat on the back. Leave your worries and your to-do list at the door, and let's just spend a few moments together here, taking care of ourselves, doing the maintenance for our mind and our bodies that we need. Eyes can stay closed here, or you can open them and watch the video, whatever you're comfortable with. We're going to be seated here for a few moments, just allowing ourselves to sink into our practice and sink into the present moment here. Nothing else matters, just being here with yourself in this moment, that's it. Noticing where we might be holding tension in the body as we let ourselves relax. Maybe there's a little furrowing in the brow that we can release. Maybe there is some tension here in the belly that we can release. Just let it out. No reason to hold your belly in right now. Just let it go. Think about the knees, the hip flexors in this joint area. Are you holding your legs up a little bit off the ground? Can you relax any of that tension and just release? Now imagine there's a string coming out of the top of your head, the tip top crown of your head, and it's pulling up towards the ceiling, straightening your spine, creating space between the lower rib cage and the top of the pelvis. Lengthening the spine here, letting the shoulders melt down away from the ears. Go ahead and roll your shoulders forward and back a few times. So inhaling, bringing the shoulders way up by the ears. Exhale, let them glide down the spine. Inhale, shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, let it all out. Couple more at your own pace. Honor your breath here. There's no race. There's no right or wrong. You don't have to be lining up with my breath. Just honor your breath and align your movements with your breath. When you're satisfied one direction, switch it up. Coming forward, dropping the shoulders down in the front, coming down to the bottom of our circle here. Shoulders sunken down. We can tag a little bit of weight in the elbows here to help us pull the shoulders down. Shoulders come up forward. You might find a little organic movement here, swaying a little bit as your shoulders move. Just be in your body. What does it feel like to be you today? And shake the head side to side a little bit. Give it a little no or a little yes. Releasing tension from the neck. Eyes come open now. Soles of the feet together in front of your body. You may need to adjust your seat here. So even if you didn't need any extra lift and easy seat, you might find that your hips could use some more space here. So go ahead and grab a block or a pillow and elevate your hips if you find it comfortable. The closer your feet are to the interior of your pelvis like this, the more challenging this posture is going to be on your hips. So find a place that's comfortable for you where you can challenge your limits but not experience any pain. So discomfort is okay, that's how we grow, but pain tells our body that that's where the line is and we need to stop. So if you experience any pain, particularly in your knees, just go ahead and take a deep breath and back out of the stretch and find some place where you can navigate and explore your limits without inducing pain. So I'll be here today, right here, sitting up nice and tall, hands on the ankles helps me remember to straighten my spine. And then on an exhale, we're going to just walk our fingers forward. And you may be just here today with a little bit of forward fold. And that's perfectly fine. If you'd like to challenge yourself even more, you may come a little bit further down onto the forearms, releasing the tension from the neck. So once you've looked at the video and you've seen the position and you found what works for you, don't continue watching. Just release the tension out of your neck and let your head drop down. You can also place a block right here under your forehead to support your weight. If you're finding it a little bit too challenging for comfort, you should be getting a really nice deep stretch in your hip flexors here, so around the outside of the buttock area on both sides of the legs, and then the inside where the hip bone connects to your joint there. It's a ball and socket joint, lots of little muscles and tendons in there holding it all together and keeping us upright and mobile. Lots and lots of places to breathe love into and stretch. So go ahead and contemplate in your mind what that might look like inside of your body. You may picture anatomy, you may picture different colors, but imagine what those hips are like in your mind. And then take some nice deep inhales, intentionally breathing love and space into those hip joints. Exhaling, releasing tension. Take a few more moments here to just breathe on your own. On your next inhale, walk the hands back towards the body, rolling up the spine, sitting up nice and tall. Deep breath, good work. Give your knees a hand here to pull them back up and close together. Come back into a comfortable seat here, and we're going to go into cat-face pose, which is a fun name. So left foot here is going to cross underneath the right foot. So we're tucking it in just like if we were sitting cross-legged. And then we're going to turn a little bit, pointing the knee towards the front of the room, wherever you're facing. You're going to use your hands. If it's the first time that you're in this pose, you may already be there. But for those of you who are unfamiliar, use your fingertips on the mat to lift yourself up a little bit, taking that right foot, crossing it over, and setting it down. So you may be up here, and that may be as much stretch as you have, and that is perfectly okay. So let it be however you are today. If you have a little bit more mobility in the hips, you can bring that right leg back down, lifting the body up. We're going to set the bottom down right in between the feet. So you've got feet sticking out on either side, toes pointing towards the opposite ends of the room. Your knees are stacked here. And then imagine that nice long line, that string pulling up from the crown of your head, creating a nice long spine, space between the bottom of the rib cage and the top of the pelvis. You can think about tucking the sacrum, the tailbone, down towards the mat. And you should feel a little bit of engagement here in the core when you do that. So nice and tall. And let's relax here for a moment. You can keep your hands on your knees. Don't put any pressure on the joints here. So if you're resting your hands in your lap, just be very gentle. They can be up here if you want to be sure that you're not putting any pressure. It's a great yogi trick if you want to be sure you're not putting pressure where you shouldn't be. Just turn your palms face up. It's pretty hard to put pressure down that way. You can also, if you want a little self-massage here, squeeze the toes. If you're like me and your feet are always like little icicles, then you can warm them up this way. Give yourself a little massage here. Now close your eyes and think about the right hip. You should be feeling the most intense sensation of anywhere in your body right now in the outside of the right hip flexor. So right along this bottom area here. Right here is where the most intense sensation occurs. So think about that. What does it feel like? Where do you feel it? Where's the beginning and the end? Which parts of the body are connecting? And just be here, get curious. Allow yourself to explore your own body and just be here in your own experience. All right, let's take it to the other side. So go ahead and unwrap those legs. Lean back a little bit here. You can use your hands to support yourself. Right leg unwraps first, comes back. Left leg untucks, and then we just take it to the other side. So right foot tucks underneath here. You can use your hands to support you if you need. Lifting up a little bit, tucking the left foot over to the side. Hands come in front and support you in a little balance here. You can wiggle your way into this. And notice how that feels. Is it different? This side is tighter for me. Usually you'll have one side that's tighter than the other, and that's perfectly normal. So toes are pointing out to the sides of the room. Our knees are stacked over each other. They may be way up here, and that's okay. Just let your body be wherever it is today. Releasing in the hips here. You can continue your nice little self-massage here on the feet, keeping them warm. You can release the hands here. You can take a mudra, a hand posture if you would like. Eyes can stay open or closed here. You can find a point to focus on. That's called a drishti. Thinking about places in your body where you can create space. So lifting the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, elongating the neck here, creating space between the ears and the shoulders, creating space between the bottom of the rib cage and the top of the pelvis, tucking the tailbone down towards the ground, creating space in the lower back. Allow yourself to be curious about what it's like to be in your body. It's always changing. No two experiences on your mat are going to be the same. And the way we win in yoga is just showing up and being there with ourselves. Being present, being mindful. A couple more breaths here. If this is your tighter side, feel free to stay a little bit longer. You might need a little bit more stretching. Just do what you need to. Trust your body. It'll tell you where to go. On your next inhale, join me back with eyes open. We're going to unravel here so you can place your hands back behind you for some support and unwrap those legs. We're going to take it into a pigeon. So turning to your right or your left, whichever you like to be your head of your mat. I'm turning to my right, coming down onto the knees. Nice little toe stretch here in between. Can roll the wrist out, give them a little wiggle. Hands and knees now, tabletop position. Align your hands underneath your shoulders, spreading your fingers out wide. You'll want to point your index fingers straight towards the top of the mat, spreading the fingers from there. Grip your fingers like you're gripping into the mat to hold onto it. That's going to take the pressure out of your wrist and support your body weight up top. Check out your wrist to elbow to shoulder alignment. You're going to want your joints to be stacked here. So if you're leaning back a little bit or leaning forward a little bit, you're going to see the angle here change at your wrist. So check that out and make sure that you're stacked joint over joint here. Align your knee underneath your hip point here, creating a 90-degree angle between your torso and your thigh, and then with your calf and your thigh as well. Nice and stacked here, setting yourself up for success. Take a little wiggle here, side to side, whatever feels good. This is your yoga practice. So you choose your own destiny adventure. Now we're starting with the left foot. So on an inhale, pick that left foot up, squeeze into your mat. So you should feel a little bit of engagement there in your core to keep your body balanced so you're not swaying over side to side. Left knee comes up. Left foot comes up as close as we can get it to the right wrist. So the more parallel your foreleg is here, your calf is to the top of your mat, the more challenging the stretch is going to be. So if you're new to the practice or you've just got tight hips or you're not sure yet, then bring the foot a little bit further back here and have your knee pointing towards the top of the mat. So we'll start here and then we'll go through progression. So knee is up here by the left wrist, flexing the toes on the left foot, dropping back, feeling a nice deep stretch in the front of the right hip flexor and along the back of the left hip here. If this is a little bit too intense for you, that's okay. Grab a block or a pillow and set it up underneath your hip here to give you a little bit more space. So wherever you are today, just give yourself grace, show up for yourself. You'll be surprised how much it can help just accepting where you are. So if you're here, that's great. If you're a little bit lower, wonderful. Next progression would be to walk the hands forward, remembering to keep active toes on the left foot. So pulling your left toes back towards your left knee. Foot is engaged, kind of like this. That'll protect your knee joint. You can drop to the forearms, come to rest on your hands or on a block. Lie down, have a nice stretch. Stay here. If you're not anywhere close to here, stay wherever you're comfortable, wherever you can get a nice stretch without experiencing pain. Find your edge and respect your limits. If you'd like a little bit more of a challenge today, walk back up. Bring the left foot up closer so that your foreleg, right here, your calf is more parallel to the edge of the mat. That's going to create a deeper stretch right here in your hip flexor. Hands on the mat supporting us. Feeling that nice deep stretch. And if you've just got really fantastically open hips, you may be able to walk down a little bit here. My hips are not fantastically open, but I do a lot of hip stretches and they've slowly become that way. So just know that wherever you're starting is your point of growth and you're going to expand and improve as you engage and learn and explore your body. It's inevitable. So you can do this. Yoga is for everybody. Few breaths on your own wherever you landed here and pigeon. That back foot you can release if it's comfortable. Think about where your weight is on your body. Try centering a little bit, so you may tend to lean towards the left in this posture. It's okay, it's perfectly normal. Try to straighten it out a little bit, leaning your body weight towards the center, so you're getting a little bit deeper stretch in the front of the right hip flexor there in the quad. On your next inhale, walk your hands back, unravel yourself. So if your leg is out here, tuck it back in, tuck the back toes, bringing your knee up, coming back to a tabletop position. Hands planted underneath the shoulders, creating nice long lines, lifting up a little bit out of our joints. You can tuck the toes or you can leave them flat. Wiggle here for a little bit, wiggle it out. Notice how it feels different in your left versus your right hip. It's a little bit different now after the stretch. And taking it to the other side. So wherever you were on the left side, trying to keep it balanced. Do the same on the right side. So first bringing the right knee off of the mat, engaging the core so we stay balanced. So we don't want to crank it over like this and put too much weight in our left shoulder. We want to stay balanced in the weight that our body's supporting on the left and right side. So squeeze your hands into your mat, lift that knee up and engage the core so you stay balanced and you feel the weight distributed evenly between your left and right hands. Tuck that knee in, bringing it up in between. So like we spoke about before, you may be up here if you've got lots of space available today, and if not, tuck the foot a little bit back here, bringing the knee behind the right wrist, and then untucking your toes on the left foot, sending the leg back, resting down in this position. You might get some knee pops, that's okay. If you experience any pain, grab a block, give yourself a little bit more space under here, and just be where you are today. First option is here, being sure that we're not holding any tension in the neck, so not pushing up like this and back, but just gripping the mat, holding our hands firm and strong, walking down and releasing on the mat if it's available and not if it's not. If you'd like a little bit more of a challenge or your hips are just naturally or because of work a lot more open, bring the foot up here parallel with the top of the mat, keeping active toes here. So spreading apart and pulling back towards the knee will protect the knee joint, centering that weight. So the tendency here is to roll into the right hip, but we also would like a stretch right here in the front of the left hip flexor. So we're going to work on centering our weight. And if you're not able to do that, then just take your leg back down a little bit because you may just not be ready for it yet. So wherever you're able to stretch and also center your weight is where you need to be. It'll be different for every single person and different between your two hips. So find what works for you, what's comfortable and challenges you. Get settled in. Wherever you're comfortable, release the tension from your neck and just take a few breaths here, enjoying the sensation. Feeling a nice deep stretch in your outer right hip, the front of your left hip crease. Breathing lots of love into those hips. On your next inhale, walk your hands back. Unravel yourself back to tabletop. Lifting that knee up, planting it under the hip point, wiggling your way back. Hands come underneath the shoulders. You can wiggle out the hips if you need to. Take a couple forward, backward motions here. And then just come back to a seat, rolling all the way back onto your bottom. And then eventually onto your back. Lie down, give your knees a big hug. Good job, great work. Notice how your hip flexors feel different than they did before. How those joints feel different. Maybe your hamstrings and your quads feel a little bit different too. Take a moment here, giving yourself a hug, congratulating yourself. You did it, you showed up, you did something new and different. Every day is new and different. Every day we are new and different. Release the feet to the ground. You can have your arms up here in a cactus or field goal position, and just windshield wiper the knees. If you're more comfortable with your hands on your belly or your heart, that's okay too. This is a really great massage through the sciatic nerve, the buttock area. And just wiggle it out. You might find one spot that you really like and just roll there for a little bit. Giving yourself a nice massage. Hugging the knees back in. And then releasing to my favorite pose, Shavasana, where we let all of the nutrients of our practice sink in. Thank you for being here. Thank yourself. This is how we show ourselves love. We are worth the time. We are worth the effort. Change is possible a little bit each day. Feel free to pause your video here or turn it off and just hang out. There never seems to be nearly enough time in the world for Shavasana, so feel free to extend yours here. Relaxing the body, releasing all of your tension, and feeling your mat support your body. Your yoga practice is here for you. I'm here for you. We are all in this together. When you've had a little bit of time to rest, if you're still here on the video and not gone away to a Shavasana nap, join me back where we began. And we end just like we began, honoring and acknowledging each other and the connection between us. The light in me sees and honors the light that is in each of you. I honor the beauty, light, truth, and love in each and every one of you. Namaste.